National History. Our next lesson, we're looking at propaganda in World War One. Now, our aim by the end of this lesson is just to be able to describe how was propaganda used during the war. So we touched on this a wee bit when we looked at recruitment. So we're just looking at this in a bit more detail today. Our other aim for their main aim is to answer 2 exam style questions on recruitment. Now, what is propaganda? Propaganda is usually based on part truths. Now, it's information used to spread or to promote a cause and encourage others to believe this. So it can come in many forms, such as posters, films and stories, and it's designed to appeal to people's emotional side rather than their rational side. So here even is some example of propaganda that is used today, things like drink Coca-Cola, McDonald's, I'm loving it, ultimately to promote a company or a product and encourage people to use that product. In this case, when we look at World War One, it was propaganda to encourage men to join or for women to help during the war, ultimately to get them to join the army to help in the war effort and to win the war. Now, in terms of getting men to sign up for the war, as we mentioned, propaganda was used to try and encourage men to join. Now, we're going to look at how propaganda was used in more detail, and we're going to divide it into certain sections in terms of how it was used and the different emotions that it played on. So later on you will be filling out this grid. Now, propaganda posters. Some posters were designed to make men feel guilty for not joining. So you'll see there it says "Women of Britain say go," and it's got men in the back there marching. And then the picture there on the right hand side, poster there, a very famous poster as well. It has the girl sitting on the daddy's knee and the son sitting playing, and it says, "Daddy, what did you do in the Great War?" Again, trying to pull on men's emotions. Here's another example of a poster where it says, "These boys didn't shrink, they want help. Listen for a moment, can't you hear them calling to you? Be a man, there's a king's uniform for you." So this is half a page recruiting feature which appeared in the Brecon Advertiser in July 1915, and basically that featured different local men who'd been killed, trying again to pull on men's heartstrings and say, well, these men are going out, they've been killed, they need your help. The country needs your help to go and fight. Also, the posters are designed to make men feel as though it's their duty to go and fight in the war to defend their country, so a bit of patriotism here. So you've got Lord Kitchener there saying, "Britain, join your country's army, God save the king. Kitchener wants you. It's got your king, country needs you to maintain the honour and glory of the British Empire." And that's a Scottish soldier there, because you'll see also wearing his kilt, and it's got "Line up boys, enlist today." So ultimately again pulling the heartstrings and saying, you need to defend your country, come and join the army. There was also propaganda which was the hatred of the Hun, so stories about German atrocities against innocent women and children, particularly in Belgium and France, which the Germans had invaded, was used to encourage men to go and fight. Now, the Germans blasted their way through Belgium in August and September 1914, killing civilians and destroying a lot of buildings. And on August 25th, 1914, they shot 248 residents of the Belgian town of Leuven. So they were accused of helping Allied soldiers, these residents in Belgium, so they were killed. The hatred of the Hun, Edith Cavell, she was a British nurse, and she worked as a nurse behind German lines, and she tended to the sick on both sides. And she was arrested and accused of helping the British, French and Belgian prisoners escape to Belgium. And she was sentenced to death by a court-martial, and she was shot by a firing squad on the 15th of October 1915. So this again was an example of propaganda that the British could then use. And that is what they decided to use. That's a poster there depicting her being shot by the Germans. So again, pulling on the heartstrings and saying, look what the Germans are doing to our people, we need you to join the army to stop this happening. Now, how it was used by the British government, the most common way was to strengthen people's hatred of the Germans, to get them to hate the enemy and to join. Also, just to encourage men to enlist themselves. Another aim of propaganda was to hide what was really happening on the front lines, so you'll see the army isn't all work, so trying to say you get to play sport in the army, so it's a bit of fun. Propaganda is also used not only to get men to join, but also to encourage women, and we will be looking at women more in our topic as well and how their role changed, but to encourage women to help by working, and to encourage people to save food. Again, we'll look at this, but rationing was introduced by the British government as well, and propaganda was used in that sense to help them save food. Now here's just an example of some of the ways that propaganda is used. So this is an example here of propaganda against the Germans. You'll see on the right hand side, "Destroy this mad brute." We already looked at that last lesson. And another one, "It's far better to face the bullets than to be killed at home by a bomb. Join the army at once and stop an air raid. God save the king." This is appealing to women. Obviously, Women of Britain Say Go, Red Cross or Iron Cross, ultimately trying to get women to join and help any way they could in the workforce. So this could be, as we'll find out as well, some women actually volunteered as nurses and went to the Western Front to tend to wounded soldiers, but others were doing their bits at home as well. The left hand side propaganda poster, the army isn't all work, so again trying to say that it's a bit of fun, a bit of adventure, and these women are doing their bit, learn to make munitions. So women actually worked in munitions factories making bombs, so again that was a propaganda poster to encourage women to join the workforce in that. On the left hand side we've got some about saving food, so don't waste bread, save 2 thick slices every day and defeat the U-boat. And on the right hand side it is nice in the surf, but what about the men in the trenches? Go and help. So again trying to pull on people's heartstrings and say, well, how can you be enjoying yourself like that when there's men out there fighting? So go and join the army and help. Left hand side, we are saving you save food, well-fed soldiers will win the war. So again, bit of propaganda there for saving food. And how the Hun hates, that's an anti-propaganda poster against the Germans there. Okay, now we're going to do a wee task just looking a bit more at propaganda and how it was used. So propaganda grid task. So if you look at the worksheet, you'll see that you have boxes at the top of your worksheet. So one of the boxes, one of the cards has the way that the propaganda was used in the war, and the other card has an explanation. So you need to match those cards together and then match them with the correct grid on the square and write it in. The first one has been done for you on the sheet, so if you pause just now and if you complete that task, and then we're going to go over that. Okay, so this is how your grid should look. So top box, which is done for you, we've got obviously that's anti-German, and we explanation of that in a moment. We've got encouragement to enlist, we've got to hide what was really happening on the front line, to encourage people to save food, and to encourage women to do their bit. So the explanation of the anti-German one, brutes, Belgian babies being bayoneted. So again that's a propaganda poster there showing the Germans killing Belgian babies, so encourage men to join through hatred of the Germans. Encourage men to enlist, so Lord Kitchener, your country needs you. Playing football, cricket, so the army isn't all work, so that was posters there to try and encourage men to join, showing that it's a bit of fun. Encourage people to save food, save wheat, save the fleet, and encouraging women to help by working. So these women are doing their bit. So for example, that's pictures of women working in munitions factories, or the Women's Land Army, which was set up to work on the farms as well. So that's the different ways that propaganda was used in the war. So an anti-German feeling towards it, to encourage men to join, to hide what was really happening, try and say the army is a bit of fun, the rationing side of it, so encourage people to save food, and towards women, encouraging women to help by working. Now, what we're going to do is try an exam style question, or a couple of exam style questions on this. So our first exam style question is to explain the reasons why so many Scots volunteered to fight in the Great War, and this is worth 6 marks. Now you remember from last week when we done an explain question, the way that you answer this is A, B, C, and then the D is optional. So A stands for answer, so answer the question. B is because, so just say the word because. C is comment, and then the D for develop. If you want to develop the point for an additional mark, you can. So below is an example to start the answer off for you. So we have one reason why so many Scots volunteered to fight in the Great War. So that's your A, you've answered it. Was because, you've used the word because there, and then you've got the comment here. Scots had a tradition of a martial race. They were seen as brave and loyal soldiers and wanted to continue this tradition. So that would be 1 mark there. What you need to do is give another 5 points like that. And if you look at the worksheet, it has the structure there to help you as well. So that's an explain question that you need to try. The other exam style question we're going to try is a how fully question. So this is also worth 6 marks. Remember how we answer a how fully question is using the mnemonic AID. So A stands for answer, so we need an overall judgment at the start. Now remember, you need to do this. If you don't have the overall judgment at the start, then the most that you will get is 2 marks. I stands for include, so identify 3 points from the source that helps to answer the question. And D stands for doesn't include, so 3 points from your own knowledge. Now remember, as previously mentioned, the how fully question will have 2 frames, so it will either be how fully does source A describe or how fully does source A explain. So remember the difference between the two. If it is a describe question, you simply just need to identify points that describe, and your recall can just be like describe points and a describe answer. If it is an explain question, then in particular you need to be explaining your recall points. Now we're going to look at a how fully explain question. So you'll see here, question says, how fully does source A explain why so many Scots volunteered for the armed forces in 1914? So the source says, at first the outbreak of war was exciting for many Scots who had never travelled. The opportunity to go on an adventure with your pal in a kilted uniform was too good to miss. There were more Scots volunteers in proportion to the size of the population than any other area in the UK. War hysteria also played a part, that's meant to say. The War Propaganda Bureau told stories of Belgian babies being bayoneted and nurses and nuns being raped by German soldiers. Now, you'll see here the frame, how fully does source A explain? So we need explain points in our recall, and we need to look for points from the source which explain why Scots volunteered. Okay. Now, to answer this, remember at the start you're going to have your overall answer. So you're going to say source A quite fully explains why so many Scots volunteer for the armed force in 1914, but not totally. So you need to have that at the start. If you don't have that, the most you'll get is 2 out of 6. Then next is your I. So what does it include? So firstly, the source tells us, at first the outbreak of war was exciting for many Scots who had never travelled. This means the war gave them a chance to get away. So you're just putting a wee explanation there. So that would be 1 mark there. So we need to find 2 more points from the source. So you'll see that the source also tells us there's a blank there, so you need to fill that out, and then this means just a wee explanation there. So that's worth 3 marks for points from the source. Then you need to identify points at the source. Okay, and then we've got what the source doesn't include, so the D, what it doesn't mention. So you'll see here it says, the source fails to mention Scots signed up because of patriotism. Patriotism caused men to volunteer for the armed forces because they were proud to be part of their country and felt a duty to defend it. So you've identified there that patriotism was a reason that they joined up, that wasn't mentioned in the source. And you've said there it caused men to volunteer for the armed forces because they were proud to be part of their country and felt a duty to defend it. So you've explained the point there. So again, for your other 2 points which aren't in the source, you're going to say the source fails to mention Scots signed up because of. So identify the reason, name the reason again, cause men to volunteer for the armed forces because. Make sure you explain your 2 points there. Once you've answered both these exam style questions, if you upload your answers via the assignment tab. And just a wee extension, once you've finished all of that, it would be good for you to create your own propaganda poster. So use the posters in this PowerPoint as inspiration to create your own that encourages men or women to join in the war effort. Okay, so success criteria, what we're looking for you to do is to have a catchy slogan, picture and colour. Emotion, so think about who you're going to appeal to. So you're going to have hatred of the Germans, encourage men to enlist, encourage women to help. You're going to try and save food. You're going to hide what was really happening. And there's some examples there. So we look forward to seeing an example of some of your propaganda posters as well. Okay, thank you.